Really. I was turned inside out, pulsating with creamy pink desire for this most coveted hunk of drool material. But I was too thin-skinned to take the chance of being scorned this soon. It goes on, but I'm going to go to another, all this romantic shit he kept trying to lay on me like he was, you know, I was going to marry the guy. That's how he acted. So you had to fall in love with him. There was no way you couldn't. If you were 19, yeah, please. So he had promised to fly me to New York, which is, as a groupie, it turns you into a super groupie when you get taken on the road. So I didn't realize it at the time, but at that moment I became a super groupie. And I was taken around with other bands too later. I was pacing around the apartment in a numb fog, so when the phone finally rang, Michelle answered it. "Pamela, it's Jimmy, it's Jimmy." I was like Sleeping Beauty waking up after 100 years of death sleep as his sweet voice told me how the scenes he was having were like eating hamburger. That must have been nice for those girls, right? In other words, he did not stop fucking other people, even though he was pretending to be in love with me. And how he really needed to see me. While my tears of relief dribbled into the receiver, he told me, "The boys really like you. They usually hate the girls I see." He promised to send me a plane ticket the next morning, and I said a silent prayer that he would. As I started to pack my suitcase to go on the road with Led Zeppelin, I felt strong because I had called to Jimmy like a cave woman deep down inside myself, and it had worked. I waited all morning for my airline ticket to arrive, and when it didn't, I started shivering and couldn't stop. Michelle was trying to hold me up because I was a quivering heap, curled up on the floor in a fetal position. I asked her to hand me my journal, and with shaking hand I wrote, "Why did he even bother to call me? At least I wouldn't have heard his sweet voice, and the hurt would be healing instead of fresh blood still flowing." "Where is the white chariot, Mr. Page?" That was where he was supposed to be carting me around in a white chariot. That was another one of his promises. Michelle made me a cup of tea, and I stood in the doorframe to steady myself. After 2 sips, I dropped the cup of steaming Earl Grey, grasped the doorframe with one hand, clutched at my heart with the other, and slid dramatically down to the floor as the doorbell rang. Suddenly I could run, and standing in front of my door was a messenger boy holding my TWA ticket to New York. "Miss Pamela Miller?" he asked. And I kissed him like Blanche Dubois kissed the young man in a streetcar, then whirled around until I got dizzy and fell down again. The sun was shining. I was a 20-year-old blonde with blue eyes and a ticket to New York sent to me by Jimmy Page, the most beautiful Englishman alive.